You already know what it is. You are now tuning in to Damaged Goods. Hey, make sure you tap that follow. Oh, yeah. Make sure you subscribe, like, share. We're going to keep getting bigger and bigger. Damaged goods, but you know I still got the value. Did it by myself, I made my name without you. Yeah, I got a game on lockdown, ayy. See me when I'm chilling at the top now, ayy. I'ma tell my story. I don't give a fuck, you can watch out.
Mind over matter, I'm telling the truth. Been through the worst, I got nothing to lose. Talking to me, better watch what you say. I am the one who don't play with no games. Velocity, property of my own shame. Militant minded and sick in the brain. Truly right now, I don't need to explain. Maki on fire, now you know my name.
Damaged goods, okay, wait, damaged goods, okay, wait. You already know what it is. You are now tuning in to Damaged Goods. Hey, make sure you tap that follow. Oh, yeah, make sure you subscribe, like, share. We're gonna keep getting bigger and bigger. Damaged goods, but you know I still got the value. Did it by myself, I made my name without you. Yeah, I got a game on lockdown, ayy. See me when I'm chilling at the top now, ayy. I'ma tell my story. I don't give a fuck, you can watch out.
Mind over matter, I'm telling the truth. Been through the worst, I got nothing to lose. Talking to me, better watch what you say. I am the one who don't play with no games. Velocity, property of my own shame. Militant minded and sick in the brain. Truly right now, I don't need to explain. Maki on fire, now you know my name.
Damaged goods, okay, wait, damaged goods, okay, wait,
Damaged goods, but you know I still got the value. Did it by myself, I made my name without you. And I got a game on lockdown. See me chillin' at the fucking talk now. I'ma tell my story. I don't give a fuck, you can watch now. Damaged goods, but you know I still got the value. Did it by myself, I made my name without you. And I got a game on lockdown. Ayy, see me when I'm chillin' at the top now. Ayy, I'ma tell my story. I don't give a fuck, you can watch now.
Hey, hey, what? Gang, you already know what the fuck going on. Damaged goods, damaged goods with no motherfucking regrets. to know. I need to know.
So I'm thinking about using that as an intro for this playlist. And I think I'm going to get pictures sent to me and take screenshots of people on panel and I together and maybe a few little slideshows to go with it. So Lex, I dropped that link for you, darling. By all means, click away. Hey, Slugger. Where you at? Alright, if there's any time-eating twat waffle herpinated fuck faces like that little skank Michelle Goes Live, is that Michelle Sabate? That fucking dumbass fucking half-brain fucking whore? Get rid of her. I got rid of her. Fuck you, Michelle. You and your fucking troublemaking bullshit. Get the fuck up out my shit. You'll be fucking up my playlist. Yeah, just get rid of the fucking assholes. I ain't got no time for none of that shit here. This is not that type of fucking stream. It is not that type of content. We will be showing our guests very much respect today. And every time we have somebody on this panel. You can't hear it. Can you hear now?
Girl, cannot hear you out there at all. You got the worst coming out of your computer. It's bad.
Is it really bad? Can
It
you
was
hear
bad.
anything at all?
No, you couldn't hear you at all. Now you might be good now because I don't hear that no more. Hang
All
on.
right. Well, is it still? They said they're
Okay,
still
it's
bad.
gone.
Is it
It's
better
gone
now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
I just
you
came up
didn't
to
hear
tell you that. I'm
anything?
laying down again.
Were you able to hear anything I said at all, or no? Not really.
It sounds good now, they said.
All right,
I
cool.
couldn't hear anything you were saying. It was like you were really quiet and something was like backfiring on you. It was really strange.
Whatever.
But you're good now, girl.
That Michelle Goes Live. I'm pretty sure that's that Michelle Goes Live.
Yeah, she can get fucked. Get the fuck up out of here, bitch.
Michelle Sabate, you dumb fucking twat, waffle looking herpinated cunt. Don't be coming up in here fucking up my shit again. I ain't playing no games. This shit right here is serious. Bitch,
Yep.
You got a problem? Bring your ass to Florida and I will send you home in a body bag. Sit the fuck out my shit. Anybody else fucking here fucking disrespecting anybody? Get them the fuck out. Just block their bitch asses. I don't give a fuck who the fuck they are. They could be my best fucking friend. They're gonna talk shit. Get the fuck rid of them.
Amen.
You know, mods for a fucking reason.
Yeah.
So Lex, you got that link?
Yeah, I'm gonna jump down for you, hon. I'm gonna just lay down and watch because I'm not feeling so great. But I just wanted to tell you about your sound. I love you, and what you're doing is so great. And I love what you're doing, and I just love you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Okay,
I'm trying. It's important, though. We gotta get it.
It's very important. I think what you're doing is extremely important, and I have so much respect for people that are showing and telling their story because it helps other people. You know, it just does. I know that for a fact. It was easy to listen to other people. You don't feel like you're alone, and you're not, and that's what it's all about. So, thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. I love you.
Absolutely.
And I'll talk to y'all later.
I love you too. I'm just waiting to find out where Knucklehead is.
Yeah, where's Knucklehead?
Redbull.
Get up here,
What's
Redbull.
in here? Redbull, where you at?
All right, sweetie. Bye.
Her faded ass. Noel has the best quotes. Well, thanks, Arctic. Not everybody likes it. I'm sure Michelle Sabate don't love it. But like I said, bring your ass to Florida, ho. Don't be fucking coming up in here typing your bullshit. And what's best is that you had a sub to me for 20 fucking minutes. You just done helped my algorithm just so you could talk 1 second worth of shit. I mean, to throw you the fuck out and talk shit some more about you and to you. So please come back on a troll account, talk some more shit, keep helping that algorithm, ho. Because when I know that you ain't fucking smart enough to do anything else anyway. Aw, thanks, Slugger. I'm gonna kick her butt. Is she still in here? Whatever happened to Redbull? All right, well, let's hang out a little bit until she gets up on here. Green Eyes, hey, how are you? Joanne, hi. Mark, When's Trends, how are you? Dolly Bear, Slugger, my favorite slugger in the world. All right, the Red Bull is now joining. All right, so Bert and fucking Ernie, bro.
Can you see me?
Sure can.
Okay.
So we were talking just a little bit, and figured that you wanted to come on and give a little bit of, talking and whatnot. So I know we had discussed a couple things, and you really you've been very supportive of this channel with what's going on with the playlist, and you've been sharing it, and you wanted to sit there and tell your story. So I am going to turn it over to you so that you can say what you want the way you want it.
I love what you're doing. It's freaking amazing. Like when I saw you doing this, I was like, holy shit. Like, why hasn't anyone thought of this? And you're like the perfect person for this. So I'm so happy that you started.
I really do appreciate that. That's awesome because I'm just tired of the idiots, like it's all drama, it's bullshit. It's nothing good going on in YouTube whatsoever, period. Like that's it. Everyone wants to argue and fight and cause problems and drama. And there are so many more important things going on in this world. But the last thing I want to be involved with is any more of that fuckery. Yeah, I think is it me? I shouldn't be echoing. Are you echoing? Do you have it playing on anything else? Oh, my sounds are off. I don't hear the echo anymore. It has to be on your end. It does kind of suck that it started out all funky sounding, but shit happens.
Does it sound better?
All right. It's all right.
See, my phone broke right after I got the phone with you. So I'm using my kid's tablet. I don't know if that's why. But if it's really bad, let me know. I'm going to try to mess with it.
No, it sounds all right. I mean, there's a little bit of echo, but It is what it is. So
All right.
seems to be a little bit. Yeah, I think when she turned off her mic, it was echoing and it had the squeak. I'm not sure why though.
I don't know. I'm like, this is the first time I'm ever using this thing, so I don't know.
That actually sounds better.
All right, good. Yeah, this is amazing. Like you said, there's so much more important things. Like, you know, we have a platform we could use to actually help people, and it's a lot of drama. What you're doing is amazing because there's so many women that are scared to come out, like, and get help and leave relationships, or even people that need help with relationships. So, I love you're doing this. I hope that you're gonna go like farther with it. Like keep going and put it on
I
other
plan to.
platforms.
I absolutely plan to go as far as I'm able to go. To be honest with you, I don't really have any plans on stopping right away. So I know I can carry on with my own stories for a long time, and as long as there's people that want to come on and share and do different things on this playlist with me. I mean, we literally have never-ending content.
You said, oh, that there's a lot of people reaching out.
Hmm.
You said a lot of people reaching out.
Yeah. I think you're the fourth, and then I have like 5 more that I'm trying to schedule in, but I'm trying to do a little bit of everything. So it's going to be a tad bit difficult. So I had originally planned to go like twice a week and then a possible third if I need to for anybody who wants to come on panel, because I have to abide by your schedule, not mine. And so we'll just see how it goes. I'm not really worried about it because one way or another we'll make it work.
What made you? I know we were talking about, but like, what made you start this? Like, you just woke up one day and you were like, "Let me," and because I know you had your own situation. So, like, what made you finally just do it?
It's been about a year since I've been wanting to do this, and I realized that there were a lot of things I wasn't quite ready to talk about yet. I mean, even with all the time that's behind me, I just really didn't have I didn't really have it in me to go and talk about a lot of it. But I mean, listen to everything that has been going on in YouTube, and I just decided, fuck it, it's time. It really is, because who wants to hear the same old bullshit all over again? Every day, every time you turn around, there's nothing good. Nobody has anything to really offer. I mean, there's a few exceptions, of people that are doing really good stuff and spreading awareness and they're factual, but everybody else is just bullshit. So I decided if I have to do it to try to help, then I will.
I'm so glad you did this. I'm excited for you. I was so excited for you. I'm excited for other people to know because I really feel that you're going to touch a lot of people. So I'm here to support it all.
I appreciate it so much. Big, huge bunches. I really do.
But yeah,
so where do you can start however you want. You can chat for a bit if you want to, or we can just go straight into however you want to do it. So I'm not. That's not a huge reason.
It doesn't matter. It's like the first one but only if you don't know, like, hold on, let me try to get this. I cannot believe my phone broke. I'm in my laundry room outside. Okay. Yeah, I was like, 'cause I've been through something, but it was in my younger years.
They said they can't hear you. Are you able to talk a little louder, or I can hear you, but I hear a lot of that squeaking, so I'm not really sure who it is. Let's see if I mute me.
Hold on. Uh, all right. Any better?
Yeah, actually, it's perfect on your end. I think it's mine.
Sure.
I don't know. Hold on, let me mute you for a second. How does it sound, guys? Am I squeaky? Hello, 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 hello. Okay, yeah, I think it's coming from your end.
Wait. Okay. So, I see some people saying it sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds all right. And well, when I muted myself and it was just you, it sounded all right. But then when you mute yourself and it's just me, it sounds all right. But I guess we're not supposed to talk.
Right. Hold on. Let me back out.
You're saying it's you. Do you want to jump down and try to come back in? Here, let me throw you off. All right, let's drop that link again so she can click it. All right, love. Am I squeaky? I'm not squeaking. I don't hear it. Click it whenever you have a second to do that there for me, darling. And let's try and get this going. I have no idea why she's squeaking. I don't think she usually squeaks, does she? So, everybody, we have quite a few amazing people in here. And I absolutely love each and every one of you. So I'm going to try to share as many channel links and everything else as possible. I have been completely overwhelmed with the amount of people that are trying to help. I've asked for you guys to help me find, different websites and organizations and whatnot. And you guys have literally come through 100%. I have so many links. It is impossible to keep up with them. But that's great because you know what? I'm listing them in my group and I'm listing them everywhere I can. So I'm extremely excited about this. Redbull, click the link. Oh, Mark, thank you. You did not have to do that. I love you. Oh. I think it's good too because right now we don't have an awful lot of people. We do have quite a few people hop in, but we don't have an awful lot right away, at least. So it makes our panel guests feel just a little bit more comfortable that way. Okay.
All right. Is it still doing the same?
I'm gonna mute myself while you talk, and then just take over and start where you want to start, okay? And if you have
All
to turn
right.
off your camera, go.
Okay. So I reached out to Noelle because, of everything she's doing, and I got into a relationship. Well, I left my house on and off at like the age of 12, and then I met my daughter's father at the age of 14. I got sent to military school at the age of 15. When I got out, we got together, and I was like a bad child, but there was like a lot of problems at home. So I was like into gangs, and um, he was a gangbanger, and I got jumped in. He was, like a head, like a leader. So, I just felt safe. I felt comfortable. I felt loved, and just stuff that I didn't get at home. Like my parents thought, everything was love with money. Like, oh yeah, let me buy you this, or it wasn't with. They didn't have time for me. They were just on vacations or always at work, and I had nannies, and everyone's like, oh yeah, like money fixes all your problems, but I've been on both sides of things. So when I met him, um, hold on. When I met him, I kind of just felt, I felt love. Like it was all good at first, and we were really young, anyways. So to me, it was just, I don't know. So it was like a couple of months, and I moved in with him, and he was working. He was still hanging out, with the homeboys, and I was hanging out with my homegirls. I wasn't really into partying at that time. Now it started to get, after a couple months, really bad. There was some drug issues that I didn't even know about, um, and they were really, really bad. I'm trying to think. When I had left, my mom bought me a car um, for graduating military school. So I used to let him drive it everywhere. This is like when we found out about the drug problem. So, I mean, the abuse really didn't show at this point. I mean, it did, but it wasn't as bad. So I was just whatever. Like I was at my mom's house, we were watching TV. She's like, "Your car," like a car pops up on the TV, and there's like yellow tape, blood everywhere, and she's like, "That's your car." I'm like, "That's not my car." She's like, "That's your car," and I'm like, so I call his dad, and his dad's like, "Yeah, like Joker, he just got shot. They were in the shooting. He was doing a drive-by." Anyway, he goes to jail. I find out I'm pregnant. Um, so he gets out of jail, and he's like, "I'm gonna do better," So things were good. Everything was starting to change, because they always do that. They're like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna change. Like, give me another chance." It's like in every relationship I see that's abusive. That's like the number one thing. Like, I'm gonna change, and they never do. Um, so I fell for it. I was young. I thought I was in love. Um, but we moved in. I got a duplex, and I was a taxi driver, and like the abuse started. I mean, it started before that. Like he was very aggressive, calling me names every now and then. It started with like when we moved into the duplex, it was choking, and then he would come home and it would be like slapping around. And so we were on and off. Like I kicked him out while I was pregnant. I was like, I'm not doing this shit. But then the same shit happens. Like I'm gonna change. Like let me come back. So I would let him come back. It was on and off for a long time. And so when I finally had Mackenzie, my daughter, my oldest daughter, um, we were still living in the duplex, and I was a taxi driver at the time. Um, and he would do good for like a couple weeks. Like he was, you know, I don't know. I just let him watch our newborn. And now that I think back, I'm like, why would I even leave her with him? But I didn't feel like I started knowing about the drugs like a couple months after we moved into the duplex. And he was like, oh, yeah, I'm sober. You know, like I'm working. How can I be doing this? And I'm not going to name the drugs. It's really bad. Um, so one day I get home from taxi driving, and he has like 20 homeboys in the crib. There's so many. There's females everywhere. There's alcohol. My kids upstairs sleeping, and I get home and I'm like, get the fuck out. Like, everybody get the fuck out. I literally snapped. I was like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Smoking in my home. My baby's upstairs. They're like, oh, it's just weed. It's just weed. I'm like, I don't give a fuck what the fuck it is. Like, you're not going to sit here and smoke. So I go crazy. This dude, he's like, everybody get the fuck out. They get out when he tells them. He locks the door. And then all of a sudden, like, you hear a boom, like a gun goes off. And it was literally like inches away from my head. And I'm deaf. I can't hear anything. It's just ringing. I'm sitting on the stairs crying. And he snaps out of it like 2 minutes later. He's like, it was a blank. It was a blank. Like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, you know what? This is it. I got my daughter, because I was thinking about my daughter. At the time, I still was like very low self-esteem. You know, he broke me down so bad because there was a lot beforehand. You know, the name calling, the choking, but if I go on about that, it'll be like hours and hours worth of things. But so I took her. I went to my aunt's house. I would say like a couple of days later, the SWAT team shows up, because when he went to jail for my car, he gave them my aunt's address. The SWAT team shows up looking for him. And we're like, what the fuck? He doesn't live here. Da, da, da. So I told them where he lives, because I left them at the duplex. So I was like, you can stay here. I'm taking my kid. I'm going. You know, I took everything. I left. And they went over there. They took him. They found out that same night he ended up going to do some robberies. He did about like 2 or 3 armed robberies. So he went to prison for 10 years of my daughter's life. He gets out. Um, he talks to her, you know, every once in a while. And then now he's back in there. He's been in there for about like 3, 4 years almost again. So after that relationship, you know, what I wish people would do, because at the time we don't take, I don't know if this is what happened with you, but I never took time to myself. Like, I never took time to heal. So I just, you know, felt like I was free. I would go out. I would, you know, hang out with friends. And I met someone else. Like, I didn't take that time to work on myself. Like, I didn't know everything, and I just went through wasn't, you know, I don't know. Like, I didn't get help. I didn't get counseling. I just went on to the next. I met a guy that I thought was good as well. And it was all bad. Like, I have scars on my arm from, he was a psycho. Like, he did me. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I showed you a picture of it. He was really, really bad. And I ended up pregnant. He was abusive like a couple weeks in, and I got pregnant right away. Like, so I stayed. I left him before my son was born, and I went to my aunt's house. He ends up getting deported, but during that whole relationship, it was just hell. It was drinking. It was him coming home, hitting me. It was literally hell. And I felt like I had nobody too. That was an issue. I was like, I could go back to my aunt's house, but I was like, my family's going to look at me like, you know, I'm this failure, or, you know, I don't know. I felt like I cared too much about what my family thought. So I didn't want to reach out to them for help, you know. And that's why I stayed also, because I did so much shit when I was younger during those days, like in between with the Mackenzie's dad and all of that stuff. Like, yeah, I didn't want my family to be like, okay, yeah, she's really messed up. She's in a messed up place and da da da. I didn't want anyone's help. I didn't want them to just, you know, she's 20, how old was I? 22. Yeah, 22 years old. So, um, I left him. I moved in with a friend, and he ends up getting deported. Or I moved in with my aunt, but then I left a week later. I moved in with a friend because I was like, oh, I'm going back with him. You know, I lied. I made up this whole big story. Um, I really did not want them to know, like, okay, this is a second child, and this is the thing a lot of people don't know. Yeah, I have, you know, I'm with my man now. We have 6 kids. Um, my other children's fathers are, you know, they're 2 separate guys, but they're both pieces of shit. And it took me forever just to leave. Like, I was putting up with shit every single day, and I thought it was normal. Like, I would, you know, I just stayed because I'm like, I didn't really know what love was. You know, I didn't get it when I was younger. I was looking for it all in the wrong areas. I was just so fucked up. Um, and I finally got help. Like, after the second time, I got help. I worked on myself, um, and I met my husband. And he's, you know, he's the one that has been the person that I was supposed to be with. Like, he's not abusive, he's not violent in any type of way. Um, and I feel bad because I look back and I'm like, sometimes, like, I get triggered and I start acting like, I don't know, anything can set me off, like anything can trigger me. But then I have to remember, like, this isn't where I was before. Like, you have nothing to worry about. Um, so it was really hard when I was young. But, you know, I met him. We've been together, what, 12, 13 years, and everything's good. I mean, I'm not all the way healed, but I'm in a healthy relationship, and this is, you know, what I should have had from the beginning. Um, there is so much more. It's just a lot to get into, though. Um, but nobody deserves to be treated. You know, nobody deserves to be treated. A lot of people just don't feel good. They look for
Sixth
everyone.
Sense wants to know where and how did you first seek help?
Me?
Oh, man, I'm good.
Sorry.
So I'm trying to think of when I first reached. It was when my son was born. So I had him, and then I was going through postpartum as well. So I think that was a period, like within a couple of months, that I had my son, and I got therapy. You know, I got put on medication because while going through all that trauma, I had postpartum. So it was just a lot. And I ended up seeing a counselor. I saw her therapist. I saw her for 3 or 4 years. I was working out, you know, I was just trying stuff that I never did. Like, I never worked out I just never did normal stuff. Like, working out helps, going running. I just changed my whole lifestyle. Like, everything changed when I got help. And at first, you're like, is this really going to work? Is this really going to help? Um, but you have to keep going with it. You have to keep going because it takes years and years. Like I said, I'm still not healed. I stopped counseling, but I'm at that point where I don't feel like I need it. You know, I'm still on medication, but that's for anxiety, depression. But other than that, you know, getting help, it does help eventually. You just have to stick with it. A lot of people get it and then they leave and they go back to the abuser. I wouldn't jump from one relationship to another. Like, you have to learn to love yourself. You have to heal. You have to take that time and realize like what you've been through. It's a lot. No matter what you think. Like, I just like thinking back. I'm like, I can't believe I thought that was normal. You
Whisper.
know, like
A lot of people don't realize, like, a lot of us go back because of fear bonding. And
yeah.
fear bonding is like a real fucking pain in the ass. Oh, Mark, you do not have to do that.
Postpartum depression is so. Oh, hey. Oh, thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
um, yeah, fear bonding. So yeah, I was thinking of what's it called? Um, what is that thing called when you're with somebody all the time and not separation. I can't think of the word. Fuck, I can't think of the word. I don't know. I was just so used to what I was used to, so I stuck. And then like when I would leave, I guess I didn't want to be alone. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was.
So you had a very unhealthy case of like
Of what?
codependency.
Oh yeah, that's the word. Codependency. Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that does happen when you're in an abusive relationship and you don't even realize it.
Yeah. Because when I would leave, because during those years, it was 14 to the age of like 19, 20, I left. So that's 6 years of that abuse. So I basically, and I grew up around these people that did the same thing. Like my best friend at the time, his best friend's baby mom. So we were both going through the same shit, but hers was 100 times worse. Like, so we just thought this was normal. Like, we're young, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm seeing him like drag her through the street, like ripping her hair, and I'm just like, it's a lot. Like, but I don't know. It's scary thinking back now, and I don't wish that on anybody. I really don't. It's scary. It's a scary situation, especially when you have kids too. My daughter is still, she tried to get a relationship with him when he got out after 10 years. And she invited me, or him, to a birthday party. And so I was like, look, I can't go. I can't see your dad. And she didn't know why. My aunt had actually told her afterwards, but she didn't understand. I was like, I can't see him. So I haven't seen him since. Like, I would not be around him. I could never. And sometimes I look at it, I'm like, can it affect her? But at the end of the day, now she knows everything. So it's a lot. It's, but it seems it is hard to get out. Um, I mean, I almost died. It took me, and even at the time, I didn't want to get out, but I thought about my kids. That's the only reason I left, is because of my daughter. Like, if she wasn't there, if I didn't have her, I would have stayed there. You know what I'm saying? I eventually probably would have got it, but if she wasn't in that house, I would have stayed. That's how bad it was. And I mean, after that, there was a time where, I was still receiving calls, writing, doing all this other stuff. So it wasn't just like, oh yeah, I left and then that's it. It was a struggle for a while. And then I met Jaden's dad. Girl, it's a mess. shit is a mess. And I see people in these relationships for like 20, 30 years, like their whole life, and my heart just breaks for them.
So a lot of people are like, oh, just get up and pack up and just leave. Well, it's not really that easy. It's actually not as easy as you think. I have to actually mute her when I'm talking so that we don't have that squeaking. But I mean, if you're a single person and you have no kids, no pets, nothing like that, it's easy to go rent like a fucking roach coach, you know? You literally can rent it out for a month at a time. You pay whatever it is. You're going to think, oh, that's really too expensive. You got your cable, your air conditioner, you know, your heat. You have a fridge, you have a coffee maker, a bathroom, your water, everything you need. It's all included. So it's not that expensive. Really, at the end of the day, it's not that expensive. And it's doable even if you have one child. Definitely not really one, you know, more than one child or any pets. But when you have kids and pets and whatever, it's like, it's just not that easy. Oh, you go to a women's shelter, go here, go there, do this, do that. You know, well, it's just not that easy. Why don't you go fucking pack up and wait? And then when your time's up and they make you, you know, leave because they roll the beds over so much because you only have a certain amount of time there. And then they send you out every day for so many hours until you find a job. So how do you expect to do that when you have kids, especially if they're young? And she, at that point, I do believe she said she had 6 children. And so, you know, staying put sometimes is easier than leaving, whether you want to hear it and believe it or not. It is the truth. And that's where the fear bonding also comes in, because you have to understand you're in a shit situation right now, right? But at least you know what to expect. You have no idea if the next person is going to be worse. And you have no idea they've broken you down so much if you can even make it. How are you going to do it? Who's going to watch the kids? Who's going to do all this other stuff, right? There's just so much more involved. It's just not a pick up, pack up, and leave. Not when you have people that, you know, are little and they depend on you. It's just not that easy, and a lot of people don't understand it. And I always hated when people said that to me because they were never in my situation. And had they been in my situation, they would have been able to, you know, pack what you could, sell what you can, and fucking go stay in a roach motel. Because I'll tell you what, they didn't have half as much going on in their lives as I always do. So it's just the way it is. And they do make you very codependent. They break you down and they take away your confidence. And you feel like you can't survive without them.
Yeah. And you know, like you said, it's hard to get up. I had at that time, me and my husband, now we have 6 kids, but at that time I had, you know, one, and then I had the other one, but they were both from abusive relationships. And I would say also, don't worry about what, if I could go back, I would take that loss from my family, and I would definitely have reached out and been like, look, this is what is going on. So I would definitely never, you know, be scared of what your family's gonna think, or you don't want them to be disappointed. You know, everyone grows up. Some people don't have anybody, but the people that do, and you are in that relationship, reach out to your family. Like, that was my main thing. I didn't want to disappoint. You know, they weren't perfect at all, and that's why that was where my, you know, my problem started. But I believe if I would have reached out, a lot of things would have been different. It is definitely hard to just pack up and leave and go, if you're in that situation, go to a shelter. So some people think of it like this is my home. And especially if you have kids, like this is my home with my kids. Like, dude needs to leave. I mean, it's always put on the females, and it's a lot of pressure and different changes, and it's just it's a headache, it's hell, and you're just stuck. You feel trapped, but you're really not. Like, you can get that help. You can reach out. There's so many people that you might think like nobody cares, nobody, whatever, but I bet if you just reached out, somebody will help you. um I would definitely go back in time and redo everything, and I would have reached out to my family. It is easy to say, much harder to put in place and be safe and have all you need. Yeah, exactly. And even without kids, I mean, relationships that are abusive without kids, it's hard mentally, physically. um I mean, when I got jumped in, I got jumped in because of him. um and I'm like really being open right now, and it's in front of a bunch of people, but um so I got jumped by 3 girls, and it's for 13 seconds. I lost a tooth. Jaden's dad, which is the second baby's father, he used to hit me so hard he broke 2 in half. So basically, my shit was fucked, and I didn't care about myself. Like, I did not care at all. I was so low. Like, I did not take care of anything. I lost myself. I did not give a fuck about anything. So there's still some, issues too. Like, I look at myself sometimes, like the self-esteem, but there's shit that the therapist put in place. Do this every day, do this, and you just gotta keep moving. It's hard. Thank you, Dolly. Oh, we appreciate it. Um, I can't even, like, this is why I'm so happy you did this, because I never even like sat here and thought of anyone else in an abusive relationship, even though I've been, like, I'm not being selfish. It just never, popped in my head. Like, how many women out there are being abused? You know what I'm saying? Like, I advocate for children, but now thinking of like all these people that are just going through the struggle that we went through, it's really heartbreaking.
There's a lot of pride involved too. Nobody wants to admit that they continuously fail over and over and over again. I'm gonna mute you so you don't speak. And it's not really as easy as a lot of people think it is, because by the time it starts getting really bad, you've already been so beaten and broken down. It doesn't even have to be with violence. It's just the words, it's the insults. They hurt the worst. And so it makes it really hard for you to believe in yourself and to think that you can do it. And then, you have to remember all the times that you were able to do it. But each time you're with somebody different. And so, like, the first one's like really shitty, but the second one's really a lot worse. And then there could be the third or the fourth, or I don't even know how many. I have no idea, but I know that it progressively gets worse with everybody you go to. And that's where the fear bonding kicks in, because you are so bonded with your current abuser that you're comfortable I know what to expect with you. I don't know if the next person is going to be worse. And that makes it very hard, and it makes it very scary, because even though you walk on eggshells, and even though you're constantly going through hell, being, hit, talked down to, insulted, meant to believe that you are just wrong about everything in life, you at least know that this is the way it is now. And you know the next one is probably going to be worse. It doesn't have to be that way. But when you're people like us, that's how we feel. Because that's always seems to be the way it is.
Yeah. It does get worse. It's just, because you're used to it. So you're just like, why not? And like Arctic said, the whole money situation. Yeah, like they have control, especially if you have kids with somebody. Like most of the time, in my culture or, my exes, it's like the husband goes to work, I take the woman stays, takes care of the baby. And that was another thing. It was like, what am I gonna, what, there's just so much to it. Like, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna go leave, get a job? Um, I was working with the first one, but he was making enough money. I was a taxi driver, so I wasn't making shit. I was doing that to get out the house. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to just get out. But the money, like, you ain't gonna have shit without me. Like, you're not gonna be able to do shit. You're not gonna da 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 da. And so it's always thrown in your face. And you're like, and then it has you thinking. There's just so much that they could throw in your face. And I don't understand. I don't understand why. I really don't. Um, it's just, it's really hard. It's really hard. And if anyone else out there is having, going through something similar, even like Noel said, mentally, um, please get help. That shit hurts the worst. I've had broken teeth. I've almost died. I have been through way worse than that, which I haven't gone over. But the mental part, that shit's like always there with you. Please get help. Reach out, get help. There's always somebody that will help. But like it's like there is a Aaron Chase. Ah, dang it! I'm staying. Why the fuck are you even here? People are so weird. But I think this is great what you're doing. A lot of women they don't feel like they have anyone. So hopefully you can reach a certain people and make them feel confident. It takes a lot. You guys, like I said, you just don't leave and then one day it's just all going to go away. No, you have to stay with that help. You have to continue to get therapy um, for years. Like, it takes years. And I probably should have stayed longer, like in therapy, but I didn't. I felt like I was ready. Um, in my household, there isn't any mine, yours. Everything, including the money, is ours, except the Mustang. That bitch is mine. Oh my God, Arctic. Oh my God, Arctic did. Oh, I don't even want to talk about the window thing. Um, it's so weird talking about it. This is the first time I've talked about it a couple times, but it's been a while. Oh. And then knowing that your kids, like if you stay in that relationship, like your kids are seeing that they're gonna go over the same patterns that you did. They're gonna find somebody that's most likely abusive, or they're gonna become an abuser. Like you just, it's so much to it. If I would have stayed, I don't know how my 16-year-old would be now. You know what I'm saying? And she's a very good kid, and I pray to God she never gets in any of that situation. Girl, it has me like speechless. I don't even, thinking back about all this. I didn't even know it was gonna be like this hard. Now I'm just having all this shit running through my mind. Like it's a lot.
So, yeah, no, it's so much easier to say or give advice and tell somebody what they should do, because if you don't think that they already know what they should do, then you're really wrong, because we always know what we should do. The problem is that a lot of times we are not confident enough to do so, or we're just really broken down, and it takes us to stop really caring and letting it affect us. And it actually takes us to become mean and start fighting back and standing up for ourselves before we're ready to go. And that's not even easy, because when you start doing that, if you think you're not going to sit there and end up getting, something's sent right back to you 10 times worse, that's definitely not true, because you are going to. It's always going to be worse. It is never going to get better as long as you are there. And once you start showing that you don't care anymore and you're done, and I don't care what you say, go ahead, leave, whatever, you start saying those things, throwing those things around, that the person's going to realize eventually that you actually mean it. And it's like a kid at a playground, right? It's like, this is my sandbox and nobody can play in it but me. You're no longer a person. You're that person's property. And that person decides what you can and can't do, and if you can leave and if you can't leave. And they will do whatever they can to try to destroy you before you are able to sit there and actually get out. So, yeah, you don't just, if you haven't lived it, it's always nice to be supportive and try to be helpful. But if you're not really willing and ready to go above somebody, come stay with you, who's in a bad situation, because 99% of the time they have nowhere to go, then don't judge and don't think that you are holier than thou, and don't think that you are better because it's not happening to you. So apparently you're doing something right. Nah, you just got really fucking lucky, because you have no idea how many people out there that they promise you the sun and the moon and the stars, and wait until they have you right where they want you. And things start to change. They didn't have to pay rent. I gave them that start that they needed. I allowed them to literally just be there, work, save your money, get a place to live, especially if they had kids. I have always found my way into situations like that. And, you know, you can't just say, hey, just get up and go. You almost need a free ride for a little bit. And I know that sounds really selfish and stupid, but it's not, because you live on your own and do what you have to do and take care of everything right then and there. Just walk out the door. It's all good. No, you need time to work. You need time to put money away. You need time to have a little bit of a cushion in your bank. You still have a way to pay your bills. You still have everything that you need to be able to take care of you and your kids. And it doesn't matter if it's 1 kid or 10 kids. You still need to be able to have the proper resources that everybody else has to be able to actually really just walk out that door. You can't, if you don't know about it, you have no right to speak about it. You definitely have no right to judge about it, because, you know, you should just be kissing your own ass and thanking your lucky stars and praying every night that you never have to ever go through a minute of anything we've gone through. Because, I mean, you know, there's a lot of us that do go and get abused, and there's a lot of us that find ourselves very stuck. And it's almost every time, because you are made to believe that you have this fantasy life, and how could it get any better than this? Well, that's really shitty, to be honest with you, because it really could get better. It really could get a lot better. The problem is that you don't have enough faith in yourself, because in the beginning it was amazing and wonderful, or whatever it was, you know, and by the time it gets bad, you're actually really head over heels in love. And occasionally, you know, they pull you back in, and what they'll do is they'll play nice for a little bit. Not all the time, but they will. And they'll even do it sometimes, you know, a week at a time, 2 weeks at a time, a month at a time. It only lasts so long before it goes back to normal again. And the fact that you still see that person in them when they want to do that, to kind of mind fuck you, to make you think, oh, I'll change, I'll be better, this, that, whatever. Yeah, they do. They do better. They do change. They get so much nicer than you possibly can imagine. It's almost like it's back to normal and perfect again, right? And then they turn around and they get tired of it, and they stop. They just stop. And it doesn't have to be something, oh, thank you, Mark, thank you again. It doesn't have to be any real reason that they stop. It doesn't have to be like, you know, an argument or a fight. It's just they got a bug up their ass, and they decide that they're going to turn around, and today's going to be the day I've been nice enough and I don't feel like being nice anymore, because it's exhausting to them. They literally have to fake and act like they are something they are not, just to keep you drawn in. And they know it's going to work, so they do it. And then you're sucked back in, and you're back in your almost comfort zone. And then they're like, all right, just kidding. I'm going to go back to being.
Oh, I'm on mute. Thank you, Mark, again. Um, you're right. That's what I was talking. Like that whole, time that Mackenzie's dad, would be like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna change." I just got out of jail. Like I learned my lesson this time. No, the fuck you didn't, because the last time, but you don't know that. Like you're like maybe really hopeful this time. Like maybe it'll happen. you know, like you said, go back to that checking conviction. She just said like a 2-week honeymoon type of thing. But then any day, they could just snap, and it's just gonna be back to hell, literally hell. I have been talked down to so low, like so, you know, belittled. Just I've never even in my life, like I don't know where it like came from now. Like I still have those issues, but I'm like, wait, hold on, because all of, like what happened, you know, was because of you. You made me this person. Like you know, messed up where my whole teeth thing happened. You're the one that did that. But then like he would throw it in my face again. Like he would throw that, use that against me to try to like, you know, belittle me more. And oh my God, those words, like you said, it hurts the words. They really, really fucking hurt. And it takes forever, forever to just forget about them, or, you know, love yourself again. Like I said, I'm still not even like my man, he shows me he is the best father, the best husband, you know, and we have 6 kids together. So it's really hard to get that time together. But the one thing that he always tells me is like, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, like you are beautiful. No matter what, you know, because I always have this issue with my teeth. I still haven't gotten them fixed. But he's like, what does it matter? He's like, I don't have a problem with it. So just hearing like somebody else also bring that to you, you know, it makes you feel good. But those words, they stick with you a lot, a long time. Advocates, oh yeah. See, and I didn't even know about any of those numbers, like in everything when I was young. But I probably wouldn't have called. I probably would not have used it.
Yeah, I had
But
actually asked people to start sending me, you know, their states, websites, contact numbers, you know, hotlines, helplines, with whatever they had going on there, so that I can to go. And so I literally just sit here and click and click and click until it doesn't, until I run out of stuff to click on, and then I wait a minute and there's other people clicking. So it worked out really well. Within 2 days, I had hundreds of links and just everything that you can think of. But, you know, another thing is like her husband, or her, whatever he is to her, I'm just going to call him her husband. He might compliment her and really say, you know, like, you know, he doesn't care about this and he doesn't care about that. But what you don't understand is that she's gone through so much in the past before him that you don't really know all the time exactly who you can and can't believe. And it's not that she doesn't feel like she can't believe him. She finds it hard to believe him because she's not used to that, and she's used to being lied to, and she's used to being, you know, just hurt over and over again. And you have absolutely no self-esteem, and you have absolutely, you know, sometimes just no will to live. You just don't care. You're over it. It's exhausting, and you don't even have any idea about what you're going to do from one moment to the next. And that really sucks. You know, you walk on eggshells because you don't know if today's going to be the day that they turn around and say something really horrible, or if today's going to be the day that they tell you they love you and you're amazing, and, you know, and that's just the way it is. So it's really, really shitty, and it just sticks with you, and it lingers, and it doesn't get better. And there's things that have been said to me years, like 10 plus years ago, that they don't leave my head. they just pop up. The words, that's really, I think, the worst form of abuse out of everything. I mean, yeah, no one likes to get hit, but I'll take a punch to a face over and over and over again. That's just going to stop hurting. It's going to go away. With those words, everything can be just like a picnic in the park. It can be nice and calm and happy and everything is right in the world. And then something, somehow, some way triggers a thought to pop into your head. And you hear it and it just makes you mad. And you think about it and you want to cry and you want to scream and you want to do all these just like radical things that just aren't going to help. But, all you want to do is just stop hearing it, stop feeling it, stop remembering the way you felt when the things were said and when you felt the pain from it. I mean, yeah, my ex-husband tried to drown me in the fucking toilet bowl. And if it wasn't for my friend, she actually heard the noise and she heard him screaming at me to just drown, just die. And I didn't even do anything. Like, I really didn't do anything that night. I'm not easy to get along with, but I sure as shit didn't deserve to try to be drowned in a fucking nasty ass toilet. But I did. And so she literally tackled him and tossed him backwards into the bathtub. And then she pulled me out of the freaking toilet. And we just walked out. And that was it. That was all we could do. Is just go. And then there were, you get tired. It's exhausting. It's so exhausting.
I'm so sorry you went through that. That is just, I can't even, nobody deserves that. And these men who are way bigger, way stronger, I mean, I don't understand what makes them think that a person deserves that. And even if, I hate when also people say like, oh, well, what'd you do? Like, what'd you do to piss them off? And it's like, what do you mean? Like, what did we do to piss them off? Like, I could have sat there and said whatever I wanted, but that doesn't give you a reason to put somebody's head down in a toilet bowl or almost shoot them or hit them and knock their teeth out or whatever it is. Nothing. There's not an excuse for any of it. I am so sorry that happened, bro. Oh my god. And how long did you leave after that? How long were you with him for?
I was with him for 10 years. But I had 2 really, really badass stepkids that I took care of from the time that they were 1 and 7. And so it was 10 years later and they needed me, and their dad was, at that point he was gone. He was only home 1 weekend a month. So it didn't really matter that much. I mean, yeah, it was a weekend from hell when he came home, but he was gone. And I was okay with him being gone because it wasn't hard. It's not hard to live a normal, happy life when you just have your kids and your kids' friends and, and you're just living and you're doing what you're doing and everything's taken care of. And that one weekend was just, I dreaded it. I'd have to drive to go pick him up at the airport, and I'd cry the entire way there. And I mean, car rides weren't always fun at all. You think, you'd have at least like 10 minutes of just like happy talk, but no, there wasn't really any of that. So, whatever. But it, at that point, I only had like 8 more years for the youngest stepson to be 18. And I didn't want to lose my kids. So I was willing to stay because I wanted to be able to raise my kids. They were my kids. I raised them for a very long time. And even though they aren't my kids, they aren't my biological kids, and they are no longer my kids now, that doesn't mean I didn't love them like they were. And, their mom didn't want them, and their dad wasn't around, and he was a piece of shit and a horrible father. And I heard that he actually still really is worse than he was before, which is kind of scary. And, they needed me. So I also needed them. So I would have stayed for the extra 10 years. 8 years. Just so that, thank you, Confluence. You didn't have to do that. Just so that I knew that my kids would grow up together, because also my children grew up with his children. They were 9 months apart. So it was 1, 2, 6, and 7, all boys. And it was nice. It was nice to have them. I think everybody wants that happy little house and the yard full of kids, and the kids have their friends over and sleepovers and all this other shit. And we had that. I mean, like, they even came, their friends would come over with their dogs. So I'd have sometimes 10, 15 kids and 8 dogs running around. Like, everybody had play dates at my house. And it was fun. It was okay. So I just, I only had to deal with 1 weekend a month for the 8 more years. And then my kids, my stepkids or ex-stepkids, whatever you want to call them, they would have been able to make up their own mind on what they wanted to do. If they wanted to see me or anything like that, they could have decided. But as soon, and that really sucked, because I was really the only mom that they knew. I mean, they had a mom, yeah, but they didn't know her because she gave them away. She gave them to me. She gave them to me to raise. She didn't care. She had a boyfriend who was, I want to say, 10 years younger than her. And he was on probation he was on parole because he was arrested for manufacturing and distributing acid. So that's where her loyalty was. It wasn't to the kids. As soon as she had somebody who was willing to take care of the kids and be a mom to them, and she didn't have to be a mom to them anymore, that she just decided it was a really good idea to just, fuck off. And so she fucked off. And I had the kids, and then he decided to go, and I wasn't mad. I wasn't sad. I was nothing. I didn't give a shit. I was so happy he was gone. It was just beyond anything that you could even imagine. It was nice. And it was just when he came home. When he came home, it was really bad.
I had to unmute real quick. Wait, do you still talk to them? No? Oh my God, love. I'm so sorry.
No, I haven't talked to them since 2015. But they're doing good. So, hey, it is what it is. Nothing's meant to last forever, I was there long enough to teach them what they needed to learn and to provide for them as much as I could to get them through those really, vital stages of their life. And I was able to teach them a lot of things that they needed to learn and, pretty much just mold and shape their life. So I did good. I did good for as long as I was allowed to, and that was all that mattered. But no, I don't talk to him. I haven't talked to him or seen them since. Since I got arrested. It was actually Christmas Day. I got arrested in 2015. That was the last time I saw them.
A lot of people stay because of the kids too, like the other person's kids, and they use that against you. I don't know if yours ever did, like, these are your kids or you're supposed to be taken care of, or they love you, you love them. I don't know, but for you to stay, you really did love them, and I can't imagine not being able, like, not speaking to them. And were they aware of like
Yeah, and that's actually why I got arrested, because my oldest stepson actually begged me not to let his dad take them. And then he grabbed me by the throat and slammed me against the wall and said, "I'll fucking kill you if you tried to stop me." But he neglected to remember that I was standing next to a block filled with very sharp knives. And he very quickly got scared. But just like normal, the bully always calls the cops on the person they bully. One and only time I ever fucking really did anything like lashed out crazy, that puss ass hoe fucking got me arrested, put me right in jail. It's okay.
you went to jail, but he attacked you first, and the kids, they saw this, and they still took you to jail.
Well, when the cops show up and you're a screaming, knife-wielding maniac destroying vehicles and everything else that you can possibly destroy, you usually go to jail.
I know, but they need to start looking at like what is going on. Like that's self-defense right there. Like you've been through so much, and then you're not gonna let this man take these kids that don't want to go. He's already abusive. Like that's bullshit. I mean, it makes sense, but in my mind, I'm like, you guys should have figured out what was going on instead of just taking the woman that's going batshit crazy, taking her, putting her in jail when there's a whole different situation going on. I'm so sorry. And those times that they are gone, that was the best ever. Like,
And the funny thing is when I got to the when they were booking me and whatnot, I said, "Here, you want my phone?" And they were like, "No, you can have it." Really? Okay. Well, next thing I hear, there's like the entire parking lot. There was like 4 or 5 cars, and the one officer was like, "Parking lot's filled with cars, and they're like loaded with people." And they were all there for me because they were on the cop scanner. So the police scanner was actually playing, and they were like 3 houses away from mine, so they ran down the road to grab me and like drag me off. And I'm like, why the fuck didn't you? I caught like 10 charges. They're like, because you were scary. And we were discussing like rock, paper, scissors style, like who was going to go up there and grab you and drag you away. And then all of a sudden we saw the lights and and the cops showed up. And so I went in. So what they did was they all came in support. Some brought me cigarettes. Someone else brought me like a water bottle. I'm like, cool. Yeah, whatever. Can I smoke the cigarettes and whatever? And they were like, yeah, as soon as they leave. And I was just like, well, they can't stay. That's kind of rude. I'm like, you guys aren't very hospitable, are you? And they just looked at me like I was crazy. And so they left. And I stood out there and smoked a cigarette and talked like to the cop that was watching me and whatever else. And yeah, that was it. They put me in the bus and took me out to prison. That's where I stayed until my parents bonded me out, even though I told them not to. I said, just leave me here for my court date. And like I have TV court in the morning. And it's only, like 3 weeks, 4 weeks before I went to court. Like, just leave me here. Well, what really like made me laugh even more is the cops didn't take my phone. So what do you think I did? I said, only pussies call the cops. Fuck you, nigga. And I sent it. And he called the fucking police station and told them I texted him. So he got me arrested, got me catching 10 charges, and then fucking snitched on me for fucking just telling him he was a pussy. Well, it was fun. Good experience.
Bitch. He really fucking called up there and said you had a phone, that you were messaging him. I can't. What did
I sent one text. Only pussies call the cops. Fuck you, nigga.
and then he called him.
I'm sitting right there, like I'm here. There's a desk, and then there's the cop. And the cop literally answers the phone. He's like, okay. And he goes, "Are you texting him?" I'm like, "I'm not texting him, no." And then he was like, well, he just called and said, you're texting him. And I'm like, well, no, see, I'm not texting. I texted. I sent one text. And he's like, one text? So I looked at him like he had 10 heads. I'm like, yeah, uno texto. Because I'm like, I don't know how to fucking speak Spanish. You look like I can speak fucking English. Uno texto, motherfucker. I sent one fucking text. And he's like, well, what did you say? And I repeated what I said. And then I handed him my phone. I'm like, here, look. And he's like, okay, promise me that I'm not going to have a parking lot filled of cars coming to see you, and that you're not going to text him again, and you can keep your phone. All right, so I can text other people. And he's like, as long as everybody behaves and you're not having anybody harass him or anything else. And I just looked at him. I'm like, you don't remember me, do you? And he just looked at me and he was like, what? I'm like, yeah, I don't think you remember me. And he's like, you look familiar, but I don't know, why. Well, one night, a friend of mine was over and he fucking clotheslined me onto the kitchen table and grabbed me by my hair and dragged me across the table and just slammed me on the ground and dragged me through the house. And so she called the cops and dragged me off, and I had to go, and I was stupid. I was bleeding and everything. And I I dropped the charges, of course, because she filed them, and I was just drunk, like no officer. I don't have any idea what happened. I don't know what I said. He's like, you don't remember saying this? I'm like, no, I was really drunk, remember? And he's like, I remember. I'm like, okay. I was like, it must not have been an issue because you didn't arrest him that night. I said, but I'm just redecorating a truck, and that puss-ass hoe is in the backyard crying like a bitch, telling you I'm killing him, chasing him around the fucking, yard with a I don't know, samurai sword or some shit. I don't know what the fuck he was saying. He was literally yelling, she's coming at me, she's gonna kill me. Thank you, Confluence, so much. I really appreciate it. That's awesome of you. Thank you. And yeah. He was like, so you're the one that's like wouldn't press charges. I'm like, no, it's not that I wouldn't press charges. Well, I didn't want to come here to begin with. I'm like, first of all, and second of all, I was really drunk and I just don't remember like anything. And that's all I said on the stand. I was drunk, bro. Don't know what I said. Whatever I said, and I knew what I said. But like, whatever I said, I'm like, your memory of it is a lot better than mine. I'm like, why don't you tell me? Why don't you fill in the blanks? Just tell me what I said, and then I'll let you know if it sounds familiar. So they dropped the case. But then I ended up getting.
This was same guy. This was the same guy.
Mm-hmm.
Or
yeah.
what state is this? Because where the fuck do they just allow you to have a phone? Like, I've never in my life.
That was up in the mountains.
It's not where you are.
Yeah, it's one of them towns where like they have like a small little police station. So you have to wait when you call the cops. It's like 45 minutes for stadies to come over the hill, and then they come and they take you to town. And it's a small, kind of like the size of like a double wide trailer type. It's not huge like a jail is. So the holding cell was like the chair on the opposite side of the desk of the cop that yelled at me for texting him. So yeah, it wasn't it was nothing. I think that I forget how many prisoners they hold, but they checked me into the prison and whatever. I just went there and did what I did and hung out and told my parents not to get me out, but they wouldn't listen. So it is what it is. And that's it. So we needless to say, we filed for divorce like right then and there, or at least I did. But he left his kids with me still. And, was living like whatever, doing whatever he wanted to do. And he stopped the bank. He stopped putting money in the bank. So I called him like, hey, where's the fucking money, bro? I'm like, I work on weekends only. And, I have all these bills to pay. And, well, where's your money? I started another account. I said, you did? Yeah. I said, so then I guess I'll be dropping the kids off wherever you are tonight. And he was like, no. And he was like, I'm wherever I am. And I was like, okay, you have about an hour and a half to put every fucking penny you earned in that goddamn bank account right now, or I will bring those fucking kids to your fucking ex-wife's house. And he just started bitching. I'm like, dude, stop being a fucking crybaby hoe. I'm like, I'm so tired of your bitching. You sound like a fucking girl. Shut the fuck up. And I literally said an hour and a half where they go back to their mom. And that was it. And within an hour and a half, there was a couple $1,000s in the bank, and I had no worries. And I was like, you really think you can leave your kids here with me and then not fucking pay to take care of them? Homie, you got the wrong one, bruh. I'm not paying for every goddamn thing and taking care of your fucking kids and sitting there and you're gonna start a new bank account. Sorry, darling. In fact, everybody in like any state that's ever been married knows that, first of all, you can't do that. It's not legal. Second of all, what's yours is mine, what's mine is yours. You know, we're married. I don't give a fuck if it's a penny. I want half of it. We're cutting that bitch in half. That's it. And yeah, I did have my lawyer look to see how many accounts he had, what he had money, where he had money, and he had to consolidate because I got half of every fucking thing. And then I was paying the mortgage and still living there because it was only $550 a month that I was paying. And he sat there and with and you have to leave. I can't stay wherever I am, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay. Night, Joanne. And he didn't come back. He forced me out within a week with my kids, which was okay because I had a lot of places that I could go in a different state, but it was a lot more expensive. I was paying $550 a month for a house, like a real actual house, and I ended up paying like $1,250 a month for a 750 square foot apartment when I moved out. And then he never went back, and he let the house foreclose. So he's just a cunt all the way around. And that was that. So it is what it is. Anyway, where'd she go? So that was that. I mean, it's always bullshit, you know? It is what it is. You can't change it. You can't get it to go away. It doesn't disappear. So you just try to move forward, and you try not to think about it anymore and let everything go. And you hope that you don't suffer with, you know, the recurring memories. Or I'm a flincher. I always flinch. I don't like fast movements. It scares me. And it took me a very long time to stop doing that. When Matt and I got together, it took a very long time. And he's just, you know, does whatever rather quickly. And like dip and dodge. And I had no fucking reason to, but, you know, it was what it was. But slowly but surely, I learned that I could be comfortable, and that I didn't have to fight back, and that I didn't have to protect or defend myself or fight every man that decided to fuck with me because, well, I didn't have to anymore. So that's that. But if she's not coming back, then I'm gonna end this because it's getting late. It's her show, not mine. I wonder if her phone died. Flinching is a trauma response. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So is keeping more knives than any human being in the world ever needs in their house. Matt moved in, and everywhere he looked, he found knives. And he just looked at me and he was like, why do you have so many knives? Oh, I don't know. So that's that. I guess her phone must have died. So I love you guys. Anybody that wants to come on and talk, send me an email or text me. I'm gonna put it in the text right now on my phone because it works so much easier. And if you want to come on and tell your story, you're welcome to. If you do want to tell your story, but you don't want to actually be the one to tell it and you want me to, you can write it to me and I can read it as an anonymous sender. And we can go from there. Here, Aaron. I have like another maybe 10 minutes in me. So if you can click the link if you'd like to and come on up. Let's see. Oh, she's back. You there? Oh, you're spinning.
Oh shoot, I'm lagging. I'm bad.
She's good.
My bad.
Sleeping and comfy. Mom. Well, on one hand, she's doing better, and on the other hand, she's steadily declining. So, here's what it is. But she's good. She's sleeping. She's just hanging out with me. Well, she's always just hanging out with me. Anyway, so, yeah, I didn't know if your phone died or whatever, so I was going to just close it out.
My tablet.
So,
The tablet died. I'm gonna have to get a new.
what do you,
But that isn't.
how long did it take before you could start trusting the person? Or how long until you were comfortable with them?
How long? What?
How long were you comfortable with? How long did it take you to get comfortable and trust the man that you're with now?
Oh, it's still like. I mean, I trust this man with everything, but there's those days where I feel like I'm still. Like I feel like I'm crazy, like I'm like a toxic just mess because everything comes back to me. Like if I get set off or if somebody says something like about my appearance or something, it just brings all that stuff back. So then I'm like, I go into like this defense mode, and then I have to remind myself, like, okay, this is not the person that has hurt you. Um, I have to like calm down. And he's really good. Like he knows, everything I've been through. Because it's a lot more. I mean, like I said, we would be on here for days and days. I mean, there's really sensitive stuff, like gang rape, a bunch of stuff, and um, that never, like you said, it never leaves. It never leaves. Like I still think about looking back, and I still think about it all the time, and I just become this like ugly person. But then I just have to sit there. So it's still there. Like I said, when you get help, you need to stick with it because it will get better eventually, but not really.
You know,
I don't know.
A lot of people
How long did
think that it's like, oh, gang and this and that and the next thing. But what they don't realize is that when you're affiliated with an organization or anything like that, you kind of feel like you have a family. You feel like you belong, and you have friends and you relate with them. And that's something that you're not used to having. So even though it's like frowned upon, a lot of people don't understand that, yeah, yours was a really shitty situation. But I know that for a very long time, it wasn't. And I know that you found that sense of I belong with everything you've been through. So I think that's
Sorry, I was muted again. Yeah, I mean, the game situation, you get yourself into it. I was so young. And at that time, this is so I was just doing things like, if I would go out, I would end up not remembering what happened. But then later on, my friend, like my supposedly homegirl, would bring it up, or it would end up coming out in a fight about what happened, and it's like, oh yeah, like 3 or 4, da da da. I don't want to get too into it, but it's bad. Um, but like you said, you feel loved, you feel protected, you feel like that's your family. Um, it's a crazy way of thinking because it's like, oh yeah, how does somebody think that these people love her when all this stuff is going on? Because, and that's why I think a lot of people need to bring awareness to gangs, more awareness, um, so their children don't get it caught up in all that shit because it is not fun. They pull you in. It's just like an abusive relationship. They pull you in. They know who to choose, and they get you caught up in all this bullshit. And I would just never go back. I think that we also need to bring that awareness to that. I did an episode or so talking about
No, I would never say like it's the ideal, like everybody should go and join a gang. I know a lot of people that are affiliated one way or another, and it's definitely a different feeling that you get when you have people that you know that are involved.
it is. It's definitely, it never goes away because you're always thinking also. I mean, my husband's family, um, everybody grows up, everybody gets out of that stage. Some do, some don't. But on his side, um, his older brother, he's part of all that. But he works, he has kids, he has a wife. Like he doesn't go out and bang anymore. Like all these people, some of them grow up, and some of them are good people. Um, it's just, I guess, the drugs, the alcohol, the being around all these so many people doing the same thing, and you just want to like join in or whatever. But in all honesty, they do not give a fuck about you. They make you think that they do, but they really do not. Um, they would rat you out in a minute. They would, even though I was with a head person and I felt safe, that stuff was still going on. So that just shows you
It's
right
like
there.
love bombing in the beginning, I think. So
Yeah,
they really draw you in and make you feel like that's exactly where you belong, and then you end up finding out that it's really not. And I know a lot of people that have struggled with that, and then it's blood in, blood out. So,
yeah. I mean, some of my tattoos, like my Vida Loca stuff, and like, it's just I've had to get cover ups, but on some of them, but it's always gonna be there. Like these tattoos are just stuck, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I look at them too, and then I think back, and it was just a horrible, horrible fucking time. Um, yeah, not fun. Do not join a gang. And you guys need to watch for your kids too, because you might think that they're all innocent. They're not going to do this. They're not going to do that. You don't know who's coming up to them at school. They're speaking to on games, on their Xbox, on any kind of, Minecraft, Roblox, whatever it is. And it doesn't even have to be sexual. It could be some kind of game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm They could be asking to meet up. I had somebody on Cisco's game the other day. It was like 2 weeks ago. He plays Roblox, and he was like, "Mom, can I see your phone?" And I'm like, "For what?" And he's like, "I want to call my friend." I'm like, "Your friend from school?" Because I'm thinking he only plays with people from school. I know their parents, whatever. And he's like, "No, I met him on Roblox." I'm like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "Hold on." I'm like, "How old is this person? Like, what?" He's like, "He's 8." I'm like, "Hold on, hold on." He's like, "He sent me a picture." So I go to this Xbox, and he's over there. He's sitting on, like, he's talking to dude. So I grab the thing, and it's a Hispanic guy, and he sounds maybe in his like 18, 19. He's playing like loud music in the back. I'm like, "Motherfucker, you are not 8 years old." He's like, "Who the fuck is this?" I'm like, "This is Cisco's mom, and I will get your IEP address, and I will have somebody go fucking find your ass." Like, I went off. So he erases all his messages that he sent my son. He erased them off. And his dad got home, and I was like, "Go on that Xbox, go figure out what you could do to find this dude or whatever, and get those messages back. I want to see what the fuck he's been writing." My man got on there, and he went off, but we ended up blocking him. But shit like that, it doesn't even have to be like he's not allowed to play right now, because it's scary. But
You remember, I'm not sure if you were there actually, but my first person that came on to share his story, his name is Aaron, and he is a YouTuber. His story is Get to Know. He was talking about things such as like random things that you would type in for YouTube or not YouTube, I'm sorry, like Facebook or TikTok or Roblox, stuff like that. And then it's actually a huge, like, just cesspool full of pedophiles just looking to take advantage of your kids. You really think that something as simple as that is going to be safe for your kids, and it's really not. And I didn't realize it until he just told me, like, he literally said like simple little words to type into Facebook or what to Google to find out like the pedophile rate or, the game like attacks on kids or whatever you want to call them. And it was unbelievable, the things that I was reading and seeing. I was just like, holy shit, it's just not okay. Like, and he was looking up something to help his kid do like a school project or something like that. And I think that he also decided that by looking in other search engines to see what comes up as the results, he was just like completely in shock. I was in shock when I saw some of the things that I saw when I looked up what he was telling me to look up. And then he gave a lot of like child statistics and stuff like that. He does a lot of that on his channel. So I think it's really good and informative information. It definitely made me realize that it's everywhere. And I already knew that, but I didn't realize that you really don't have to type in like the naughty, like porn words and stuff like that to actually find that stuff popping up. It could be something as simple as like, it was something to do with like being a mom and like breastfeeding and like tending to your child, you know, like learning how to do those things. And yeah, nah, the things we looked up that should have come up with those results did not come up with those results at all. It was disgusting. It was really not funny at all.
That is
So
oh, there we go. I work with OPI predator catchers, and they're based out of Pennsylvania. So I help like, you know, decoy. I kind of got too busy, caught up with advocating, but I'm still with them, and they have taught me some things as well. But the only reason I brought that up because I remember back in the day, people, and this was back in the day, this was MySpace, you know, like these people I knew, they would go on MySpace and try to find like little kids just to go, you know, chill or bring them over to get them in, you know, in the gangs, or it could be anything. It's scary. And when I saw that on my son's thing, I flipped my shit because I never, you know, I'm very careful. I work with these people. I help find pedophiles. And when I saw that, because I'm always watching, like, how the fuck does this dude have time to send you a damn 6 or 7 pictures erased? I asked my son, I'm like, what pictures were these? Oh, they were of his face. And his friends from school, they were like, then why did he erase the messages? I'm like, exactly. So who is this guy? What did he send you? And he's like, he was just showing me who he was. Girl, my heart, like he's not on Xbox. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's scary. It's really scary. Um, we gotta be careful. We gotta stay more. And I didn't even know the whole word thing existed. Like, you could type in a word. I didn't know.
it's definitely not what you think it is. The internet is really disgusting nowadays, and I mean, there's really nothing good about it anymore. It's just one disaster after another. So it is, was it like 12 o'clock? So I'm going to mute and let you close out and finish saying whatever else you want to say. Anything that you might have forgotten to say or you want to say. Do your older kids still try to contact their father, or like what, you know, what's going on with that back end of the story and everything else before we get out of here?
Okay, there we go. My oldest son's dad, he ended up getting deported. So his dumbass tried to take me to court to get my son, which he was never a father, and he was abusive. He was never in his life because I left him. But he wanted to take me to court, and he's illegal. And he's a gangbanger, right? So he goes to court. The judge pulls up his record. He's been deported like 2 times. He's a known affiliated member. And they call ICE. He gets deported. So he's in Mexico. My son, you know, he talks to the parents of, you know, his grandparents, but that's it. He doesn't ask about his dad. He doesn't do any of that. My daughter, you know, when he got out of prison, her dad, she wanted a relationship with him, but he ended up back in jail. So she doesn't write him. She doesn't talk to him. She talks to his side of the family. So they still have that relationship. And you know, I trust them with those two because they weren't, you know, they weren't there when all the bad stuff happened.
So his side of the family is good to your kids?
Uh,
His side of the family is good with your kids?
oh yeah, definitely. Like both of these sides are, they talk all the time. But yeah, he tried to take me to court. He got deported. He doesn't contact him. He doesn't, my son doesn't ask for him. Um, and they know some of the stuff. They don't know everything because I'm not going to even go there. I'm not going to drag their, fathers or whatever when they get old enough. If they ask questions, okay, this is what happened. But they're 16 and 14. Um, well, 16, yeah, 14, just about to turn 14. So they don't speak. Um, it's sad, but my man's there for them as well, just like, if he was their father. My family, they're here for my kids. My family's always like around. So, especially my aunt, but she just moved. That's the one that I was telling you about the other day. And yeah, just reach out. I know it's hard. It's easier said than done. But if anything is happening, just try to reach out because it doesn't get better. No matter how much they tell you it gets better, or I'm gonna change, and it's most likely not gonna change. I don't know one person that's been in an abusive relationship. Now I don't know if you do, Noel, where the guy has changed. And it's not only women. I mean, it's not only men. There's also women. So this is to, guys as well. There's abusive women. Um, you know, it's men and women, but there's always a place to go. I know it's not easy. We know it's not easy. I'm so glad you're doing this. People can feel safe to come out. You have your email. You're always giving out your number. Please reach out, please, because one day you could end up in the grave. You don't know. Every day you're there is a day that, like, you could possibly die. Um, you don't know if you're going to wake up that morning and that's just going to be the one time they snap and, you know, pull out a knife, pull out a gun, do something worse than they usually do. Um, reach out to family, even though you don't want to disappoint, you don't want them involved. Try your best to reach out to family. Um, they like to cut you off from family, friends. They like to, what's that word? I can't think tonight. But they like to pull you away from your friends and family. So just know that you still have support out there. Some people don't, but those that don't, they have people like Noel or like me or anybody. We can get you guys some kind of resources to get that help. It gets better. It doesn't get easier right away, but it gets better. Get that help, get therapy. Don't stay because you can do way better. Don't let them make you think that you're this ugly, dumbass person that can never do anything with their lives or without them, because you can. That's just they're so unhappy and angry within themselves that they want the same for you. Don't let them have that.
So I just dropped a link right here to my Facebook group that is related to this. So there is every single web's link, every phone number that I've been giving thus far. And we are sharing every video that we do here on the group. We're offering support. We're offering help. Survivors can tell their stories there and feel comfortable and know that they have support because you guys are surrounded with people just like us. No one's going to judge you there, and if I don't tolerate it either way. So it's just, there's going to be a lot of different types of like resourceful information in there. You know, at one point we're going to do a live. We have a lot of different things that we're planning to do, but we're gonna kind of help you guys figure out, you know, how to plan, make a safe and effective plan to escape, so that you're able to, you know, mentally remember everything, even if you can't write it down because you're afraid it's going to get found. We're going to help you with tips to figure out like what to do, where to go, how to do it. There's always a way. Always a way. You just have to be willing to really make that first like leap. And you have to, if you're willing to be brave, and I know it's hard because a lot of times you have that fear, are they going to find me? Because they threaten you. They might come after you. They might kill you. They might do this. They might do that. They might go after your family. It could happen. Yeah. I'm not saying it's not going to happen because I don't know. Every situation is different, but there are so many different ways to do things that we're going to be giving you, you know, a lot of different relationship advice and like different techniques to try. I mean, I'm going to start like a separate playlist with different series for like, you know, just because your relationship gets boring doesn't mean it's over. You just might not be, you know, you're just following the same old routine, but there's things that you might not do that other people do that you might be like, hey, I'm going to try that. We're going to help you realize the signs, what they are, go over every single different type of abuse that there is, so that you don't even know that you're in a domestic or in an abusive relationship. And in reality, you really are. And you're just thinking, well, he's not hitting me. He's just a dick. Or she's not hitting me. She's just a dick. At the end of the day, you're going to end up finding out that, you know, you could possibly be in an abusive relationship. And it doesn't just go for women. It does go for men as well. So, you know, we're going to do everything we can to help educate, give all the resources. We have what we can do here, and then we have the group that we have other things that are going on there, and it all coincides between the two. So if you want to join, that link is there in the chat. Well,
Do you have a website as well? Do you have a website as well?
Not yet. I started working on one, but I want to start out small because I don't want to overextend myself and not be able to give everyone the attention that they need. And I'm not somebody that I go into something half-assed. If I do it, I really do it. I'm like an all or nothing kind of person. So good night, Sixth Sense. So I'm starting out small. I'm starting out here. I have the Facebook group. And then, like I said, there's different rooms where you can, you know, chat rooms and whatnot. You can talk about whatever. You can tell your story, share your stories there. You can literally click into a different chat and get there's like probably 50 or more links and phone numbers, or you just dial like the 3-digit code or whatever, or there's things that you can text instead of calling and stuff like that. So there's a lot of good information. And there's also information on, you have to figure out how to be you when it's all said and done. You move on, because you're still going to be stuck. Even though you're not in that relationship anymore, you're still going to live like you are and believe, that I'm not good enough and this isn't going to work and I'm not going to be able to do it and this and that. And so it's just really important that you do, check out all the different things there, because there are different ways and therapy, online you can go to. You can just do teledoc. You can do there's so many things you can do, and so many different outlets that you can look into. So we're also going to I want to go into depth. Like, I'm going to talk about my experiences with different situations, and I've pretty much been through them all. But what I want to do is actually sit there and have things pretty much like written out in full detail in the group. So, you don't just hear like a 2 or 1 hour, 2 hour live of, me telling you about what something is and how it starts and how it affected me or how it affected somebody else. You're going to end up really being able to read, and you're going to have links to back up what's being told in that description. So like if I'm talking about, say, love bombing or fear bonding, you're going to have links that you can go to and click to further research to see. And it's not an excuse, but like sometimes the people aren't abusive because they want to, but they have like some type of mental issue, and they've not been diagnosed, and they don't know any better, but they also don't have a diagnosis, and they don't want to have a diagnosis, and they just think that they are fine, even though they're not. And, sometimes finding out that there's something wrong with you is really scary, especially when you're the narcissistic, abusive one.
Hold on, I don't think okay, when you say that, how can people, like, how would you tell people that, the difference between somebody having a medical, like a mental disorder? Like, what would be, what would they do in that situation? And then the person doesn't want to go get help because they're like, there's nothing wrong with me. I guess you just leave them like any other situation, but what would you do in that situation?
Well, there's one that is a pretty big one, and it happens more often in men than it does women. And it's called histrionic personality disorder. And it literally, if you look it up and you research it, it is, the pure definition of so many people that you might know or may have dated or might be dating now or married to now. It literally spells them out to the T. And then it tells you that the worst thing you can do is abandon them, because then they get worse and they downward spiral. And then you have to worry about the what ifs, and you're going to feel guilty. So then you have to see what your job is, because you research both sides and everything, inside and outside. And you're going to learn that there are certain things that they can take to kind of help maintain it a little bit. But it's a lifelong disease, and it's lifelong issues, and they are never going to be steady or leveled out. They're always going to be on that roller coaster. And unfortunately, as long as you were there, you were going to be along for that ride with them. And so you have to, if you decide that you're going to try, you have to understand that it's going to be a very hard road. And 90% of the time, the people that do decide to get therapy don't really last more than a couple sessions. And then you have to try to convince them after you spend about 6 months to a year working on them to get them to go to counseling. And then you have to freaking struggle to keep them in counseling. I mean, it's just, it's a nightmare. I don't know what the right or the wrong answer to that would be. I wouldn't stay. I don't think I would stay, but I think that at the end of the day, you have to really just figure out, how much more of your life are you willing to waste and spend on that person? Do you love them? Yeah. Is it fair that they have a situation or an issue that nobody knew about, and then you finally realize it and figure it out after doing a lot of research, and you're like, that's really, 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 really familiar. I swear to God, it's got to be you. And you read every single step it says on their side and on your side, and what you have to do and how you have to help them. And, sometimes you have to make the selfish decision if you can't do it anymore. And I can't say that I would be mad or upset or disappointed in somebody if they did decide that they were just ready to up and go, because, enough is enough. And by the time you find out, a lot of times it's way past long enough. So, that's where you have to decide what you're going to do. But that actual disorder does say that if you abandon them, it makes them feel exactly that, abandoned, and it makes them worse, and they almost don't recover from it. So that's just one of them. So I will definitely be posting different things like that. And then, there's, gaslighting. People will throw that word around, gaslighting, or they'll say narcissist, and they don't really know the actual meaning. Like, they just use it out of context, and I can't stand when people do that. But you'll have like the actual definitions and the actual like real life examples. They might try to convince you that every other day you have some type of mental disorder, and no matter what it is, it's your fault, and it's never their fault, and everything is your to blame. And if it wasn't for you, and if you didn't do this, or blah blah blah, or you're nagging or you're bitching, well, shut the fuck up. Stop giving me reasons to nag and bitch, motherfucker. Like, realize if you just change the way you behaved, I'm gonna change the way I behave. But they don't think that way, because in their head, they honestly think that they're right and you were wrong, and that's the only way it's ever going to be. And they are never going to apologize to you because they don't feel as though they owe you an apology. That's gaslighting. The way people use it, it's not. But narcissism goes right along hand in hand with that. I mean, very, 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 very similar issues, but slight differences. So I'm going to make sure that everything that I put in there is going to be easily explained, very easy to understand. And it's going to have links and places that you can go to research to back it up and see what exactly it is that I'm talking about. So, I'm definitely going to sit there and make sure that I provide all the proper information about every single thing, every little diagnosis. And, some people that are willing to get the help, they are still never going to be perfect, but they will be better. It just depends on how much more you want to deal with. Are you willing to deal with better, but still have to deal with the bullshit? Or are you just ready to say, fuck this, I deserve better. You're not who I deserve to be with. I'm not who you deserve to be with. I need to be happy. You're not the person I need. You're not capable of giving me what I need, and you're definitely not capable of making me happy. You know, you have to really look at all these different sides of everything. And guilt trips are going to be a bitch. And then when they find out that you're ready and you're leaving, they will beg, plead, cry, do everything and anything they possibly can to work on you and keep you. And a lot of times that does work in their benefit because they do win and they do keep you. But, you know, sometimes you have to remember, agreeing to stay one more time might mean that you might not live much longer, you know? So you just really have to, hey, William, you really have to just really understand who you really are as a person, who you were before them, who you are now, how much work it's going to be to get to be the person you were before them. You know, it's not just working on them and helping fix them. It's breaking away and spending sometimes a lifetime just working on you and fixing you. But, you know, every day, every week, every month, you're going to get better. And slowly but surely, you'll start to notice a difference and you'll be happy again. And you'll learn how to be self-sufficient and you won't have that horrible dependency. Like, you won't be codependent. You won't depend on that at all. You realize that the only person you have to depend on is you. And that's really all you need. You know, the person you're with isn't supposed to make your life a battleground. It's not supposed to make your life hard. It's not supposed to hurt you. They aren't supposed to be your enemy. You know, you have to be comfortable. You have to be able to talk. And you have to be able to have conversations that don't end up in an argument every fucking time you try to have a conversation, to the point where you just decide you're not going to talk anymore because I'd rather sit here and be quiet than fucking say 5 words to you because Lord only knows what's going to happen. And, you know, when you start really getting all these things into perspective, you know, I told people there's online journals. There's one that you can get in the App Store called Vent, V-E-N-T. And it's an internet-based journal. And you join whatever groups, you know, abuse or this or that or whatever, and you write what you want, and then in your news feed, you'll see what other people that are in the same categories that you're in are writing, and then it's kind of your own little, like, personal support group, because every time you tell your story, every time you write it down and you put it out there for a journal for the world to see, or for you to just write it down just for yourself, you always feel lighter and you always feel better. And you know that you're helping people. And by being able to do like the Vent app, and there are others like that as well, but by being able to do that, you're able to put your information out there as far, you know, you have to use your own name or anything, use whatever name you want, but you put your story out there, and then you find how many people really, really do relate to you. And then you have these people commenting and telling you, you know, what they think and how they feel. And then you're going to them, and you guys are, next thing you know, you're just helping each other. It's really just a supportive system. And at the end of the day, it builds your confidence back up and it helps you move forward. And so I'm big on, we all need to talk. We do. Every time we talk about something, it doesn't have to be for a long period of time. It doesn't have to be every fucking detail, but it does make you feel lighter because it's that much less you're carrying. And then you see the support that you have in the chat and the comments that follow for everybody that watches the lives or the videos, or in an online journaling community or in the Facebook group, you're really going to see how many people there are. You are not alone at all. There are so many of us out there, and you just have no clue. And it's really sad that a lot of people spend a very long time by themselves, afraid, because they didn't realize that they had all of this right there. All of these resources right there. And unfortunately, that's just really shitty. But, you know, it is definitely, it's worth looking into. But I'm done. So I'm going to let you close us out.
All right. Well, I appreciate you having me on. I know I didn't even get to go over. I didn't go over every little thing, but it, like you said, it does help. Anytime you talk about your situation, I appreciate everything you're doing. Like I 100% support, back this. If you ever need help doing something, let me know. I'll also put your Facebook group. You know, I'll post it in our other groups, our bigger groups that we have, and let's get this thing. Let's get people help. I mean, the more people that join, the more people that are gonna come out and feel comfortable. Um, what you're doing is fucking awesome. It really is. So I appreciate you for having me on. I appreciate everybody in the chat.
Absolutely. Like I said, we're not going to be able to do it by ourselves, and we do require other people, whether we want to admit it or not. We're not that strong. We're just not able to. We can't conquer everything, and that's unfortunately the way it is. So, anyway, I think that it's just, you know, the more people we have to come out and talk, the better they are going to feel. The more people they are going to help. The more awareness we can bring to the people that have no clue what type of situation they are even in. I mean, it's, you know, you're not just talking, you're helping. And if we can save one person by opening their eyes before it's too late, that's so amazing.
Yeah.
So,
and you brought up some things that I even forgot about. Like you brought up some really good, you know, the journaling, all that stuff. So, you're gonna do awesome. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep posting, giving advice. Make sure everybody's sharing. You guys, please share the channel. Please share the Facebook groups. Like, this is gonna be awesome. I really I don't know. I told Coffee about this, and we were just talking. We were like excited because we just know how many people you could help. Like, it's not even worth doing this, but we support you. So we're just like, oh my god, this is fucking awesome. Like, we're just sat there talking about it for like 20 fucking minutes. So yeah, if you ever need anything, let us know.
absolutely. And like, I know I'm gonna figure out if Coffee wants to come on or not, but you can always come back on again, because, you know, I do want to have like the positive, good talks, and like, you know, just different things. So there's so many different situations we can talk about that have to go along with this. So I think it's going to turn out good. And I did wait over a year, but I really wasn't sure how well it was going to be accepted in the community either, because of all the bullshit that everybody's so balls deep in. I really didn't think that I didn't think I was gonna get much support. So I was really like surprised with how many people just like reached out to me right away. But I was just like, you know, we gotta do something good. We have to do something, we have to say something, we have to help people, and that's all. So that's why I started doing it. And I've been busy ever since. But I am going let you go. Thank you, Redbull, for coming on. Everybody, check out Redbull Coffee and Crime. My Facebook group link is in there. So if you want to join the group too, and I will be seeing you guys again. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and share the video if possible. That would be amazing. If not, then cool. Come back and hang out again, and hopefully we'll be able to continue to educate and bring all of this out into the open. So that's all for now, folks. I love you all. Be safe. And if you need me, my contact info is everywhere. So I'm not hard to find. Have a good night, guys.